I've literally survived everything. Domestic violence, car accidents. I've survived PTSD. I've survived learning how to walk, moving state to state, being homeless. Many different things. I've survived it.
Welcome to the Well with Cannabis podcast, a show dedicated to telling the life-changing stories of those who live well with cannabis, all while teaching you how to do the same. Meet your host, Emily Kyle, a registered dietitian nutritionist turned certified holistic cannabis practitioner. Emily changed her life for the better with the help of the cannabis plant, and now she is committed to helping others do the same. Tune in each week to hear heartwarming stories and gain the knowledge you need to feel connected, inspired, and supported on your own cannabis journey. Whether you're a new cannabis consumer or a lifetime lover, you'll benefit from these uplifting tales of real-life journeys that will show you how you too can live your best life well with cannabis.
Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to share a note on potentially sensitive content. The episodes on the Well with Cannabis podcast are created for adult audiences only. We will at times cover sensitive topics including, but not limited to, suicide, abuse, mental illness, sex, drugs, alcohol, psychedelics, and the obvious use of plant medicine. Explicit language may be used occasionally. Please refrain from watching or listening to the show if you're likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. The information on this show is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. If any of the content on this podcast has brought up anything for you, please reach out or speak to a professional or someone you trust.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast. And I'm super excited to be here with our next guest today, Ms. Kalye Obendorf. And Kalye, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
So I'm interested because you have just so many different ways that cannabis has impacted your life. And I'm really excited to hear about all these different ways. So I'm going to give you the floor. Tell us a little bit about you and what cannabis means to you in your life.
So I'm from Idaho, born and raised. I've lived there all my life until I was about 27. And then I moved to Oregon. In that time frame, I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks, I guess you could say. My family had it really hard. My dad and my mom were both addicts. They always used cannabis as like a fallback when they would get clean. And so it was always their gateway out. And I was always raised with it as a fixture in our life, basically. Like my mom cooked with it. My grandma made salves with it. She always used it for like medicinal purposes. It was never actually like a party thing, you know how everybody looked at it. And so as I was growing up, the laws stayed the same. You know, it's illegal in Idaho, and they never swayed on the legality part of it. And I never understood why. So as I was growing up and I kept going through these things, I just kept learning more and more about it. As it was still a staple in my life, my parents were both, they're both on parole because of weed. I mean, like my whole family got in trouble for it. And I was like, why aren't we moving? And it was actually just really hard for them to pick up and go, I guess. Throughout my life, I've been in car accidents. I'm a recovering pain pill addict. Doctors just wanted to give you drugs. They didn't want to help you. I was in a car accident when I was 19, right out of college. I finished college the day before, and my first husband and I were driving to a small town to pay a bill, and he just didn't think, and he passed a car, and I broke 27 bones. My son passed away. I broke my pelvis. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years, and the only way I survived was because I got clean off of the pills because I was too young, so the doctors wouldn't cut into me. And for the next 4 years, all I did was try to fight my pain because I couldn't control it. It was, I mean, my bones were permanently broken. So cannabis was, now all I use is cannabis. I don't use any narcotics whatsoever. I don't even take a tramadol. I take like an Excedrin every now and then. I've had 21 surgeries, 17 of them being to repair the damage on my body. And my fallback is always weed. I use it for everything. Like it helps my pain. It helps me live. It gives me my quality of life back. I don't have to resort to a pill every 4 hours. It's the only thing that has ever been a positive in my life.
Oh my gosh, that is a crazy story. I'm so sorry to hear about all of that happened to you. I really want to talk, though, about the pain pills. So for so many people, they're prescribed these pills by their doctor and they think that this is all I have. And a lot of people say it doesn't necessarily help the pain 100%, but it keeps them on that cycle of needing more. And so for anyone who's listening who is in that situation, who is considering making a shift to cannabis, what advice do you have for them? How did you do it?
So I weaned slowly. I was on... they were giving me 120 oxycontin a day, or oxycodone a day, or a month, I mean. And I thought that I was taking like 6 a day, I think. And I slowly weaned myself. So I would do like I would take off half of my pills. And then I would use just like a topical instead. And I got the strongest topicals I could find. Cause I was like, I mean, it's my pelvis. I broke my hip. And so I needed like that whole area to be like manageable, I guess. Yeah. And at some point the pain was so bad, like you couldn't touch it. You couldn't touch me without me like cringing or just crying in pain, because my pain pills, when they would wear off, my body was so used to them that I was just light on fire. It was awful. And so I would slowly wean myself. Every half pill, I would use cannabis instead. I would smoke like a joint, or I would roll topicals on or something. I learned how to walk after I moved to Oregon. So I was able to use cannabis recreationally, however I needed to, without legal. And my doctor was already fine with it, because I was on my tail end of my pain pill contract. Because after so long, they put you on a contract.
Wow, that's crazy. So the doctors were happy and helpful in your transition to cannabis. Is that correct?
Yes. So they were happy that I was coming off of the pain pills, because I had been on them for almost 10 years straight. And that was just because I couldn't manage the pain. It was just too much. There was too much of my body broken. And they didn't like it because he wasn't approved to be okay with it, but he was like, I don't want you to be addicted to these, because my organs were like shutting down. Like my kidneys and my liver and my pancreas were really, really angry. And so he was like, I'm not going to drug test you the last of these few months, because if you're drug tested, then they'll just completely cut you off. Yeah. And then you're red listed or blacklisted from every hospital everywhere in like a database.
You were not the first person to tell me that. And I'm always like mind blown that they are so not only like anti, but like very unhelpful to the patients that they claim to care about. And it's like, do you actually really care? Or is this all just like papers and transactions? Because to just cut people off for using THC, especially when they're trying to wean or do it the appropriate way, it's like they're saying, we'd rather you just go cold turkey, or we don't want to know about it. It's crazy to me.
Well, the reason why they do it is because they work for Big Pharma. And if they don't keep us coming back, then they don't have a consistent income. And then they're out of a job. And we're healthy. Why would they want us to be healthy? They can't go to the doctor.
It is so true and so sad and so crazy. What has your transition been like from Idaho to Oregon? Because it's like you're going from like one of the strictest to one of the most liberal. What was that like?
It was crazy. It was crazy socially. It was crazy, like, just medicinally. I went to a doctor. I had to establish care, and they did a complete, like, 360 of my health care. And they got me re-diagnosed with different mental medications because I have depression. I have complex PTSD. I have a ton of traumas from my life. And I had to find a doctor that was okay with cannabis because even though it's a legal state, not all the doctors are okay with it. And sometimes they won't even prescribe you your mental health meds if you're on cannabis. Yeah, because they believe that they counteract. And I'm like, how can they counteract? We have an ECS system.
It is so
you know, and then I
mean.
started. It is. And then I started budtending over here. I got my license.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So
how fun.
Yeah, and so I serve every day and I learn all these laws and I advocate like strongly with the doctor's offices and I freak out on them.
Good for you.
I freak out.
Do you? So I think you're my first budtender that I've actually met in real life. I'm so excited. Do you mind talking a little bit about that? Because I'm super interested.
No, I totally can. What would you like to know?
What does a day in your work life look like?
Oh, geez. So I don't know if I can say the name of my company that I work for. So I'm just going to say I work in Ontario at one of the bigger dispensaries. We're out of the stores. We are the top sales in all of their stores because my company owns like a conglomerate of dispensaries. And so we're the leading sales and we're right off the freeway. So day to day, sometimes the line is out the door and around the corner. And I'm serious. It's like, it's just like this all day long. I mean, some days I sell like 60 pounds probably sometimes. Because I mean, 2 ounces a day is your legal limit. Yeah. But I mean, I sell grams of wax and I just like carry it out the door. You know, it's amazing because we have curbside. So what's better than walking up to or like pulling up to get your food? Curbside for weed. Like, I mean,
the best. Oh my gosh. Especially for folks who are sick too. You know, it's a very good service for our elderly, our sick folks. They don't have to get sick. Mm-hmm. You can just bring it right to them. How fun. Do you enjoy it?
I love it very much. Some days are really, really emotionally hard because I'm like a counselor of sorts. Like my customers will straight just divulge everything right at my counter. And I'm like, hi. And I mean, by the end of it, I'm crying. She's crying. We're all crying. And I'm like, why is this happening? Some days they're like, I'm their therapist.
Yeah, I truly, so many people go to a dispensary. It's their first introduction to any form of cannabis. And so you standing there, you're the first person they get to talk to. And they like word vomit it out because they're like, I don't know what to say or what to do. So your role is so important in these customers' journeys. It's crazy. And I bet you do feel like a therapist a lot of the times.
I do. And I feel like as a budtender, I have a knowledge that most people don't have, that I have right at my fingertips because I have a computer right there that I can log on to, that I'm logged on to, that I can look up anything I need to. And I always tell my customers the truth about what they're getting. I never try to swindle them out of money. I'm a salesman, yes, and I will upsell you, but you will get the better product and you won't walk away unknowing. You will have more knowledge about cannabis, at least one thing about cannabis. You will know something new by the time you leave my counter. I can't say for anybody else, but for mine, I'm definitely going to tell you something.
So say somebody is like, I need to go to the dispensary, but I am so scared. What advice do you give to them walking into that door for the first time?
Do your homework. Do your homework on where you want to go, on what you want to see, because not every dispensary is the same. And sometimes the smaller ones that don't have a lot of notice, those are the ones you want to go to first, because sometimes the bigger ones are overwhelming because there's people elbow to elbow in there. I mean, and they're trying to get them out the door and also trying to be, professional about it and not trying to just make a sell. And the smaller ones have more time to give you one-on-one that you will need as a first timer. Because I don't think that it should be like candy shop. I think that you should go in with a medical standpoint. Like, I mean, yeah, you're recreational, but if you want it medicinal, then you should be willing to listen for just 5 minutes, because the product you're getting, there's actually more to it.
Oh my gosh, that's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. You are our first budtender, so I feel like everybody can learn so much from you. It's awesome. Thank you.
I could talk for hours.
I love it. Like I said, you're the very first budtender, and so many people are so scared to go to the dispensary, and so many people who I work with and who listen to this show are of the older generation. You know, for our younger generation, right, it's easy to go into a dispensary because we know what concentrates are. We know what flour is. For the older generation who's only ever experienced a bag of weed back in the 70s, going into the dispensary is like overwhelming because there's so many different kinds of products that they've never heard of before. They don't know how to use them. They don't know what to use them for. And like you said, if they're coming in medical with a medical mindset versus a recreational mindset, they probably are looking for something a little bit more specific, but they don't know what they're looking for. And that's why I've always said, you know, budtenders are there to help you. And it's so nice to hear you say, like, this is what I do. I'm here to help you. A lot of people are nervous and are afraid they're going to look stupid when they walk up to the counter. But I think just hearing from you in that it's completely normal in the experience, hopefully brings a little comfort to people as they go forward.
For sure. You know, and just remember, like, I'm a civil servant. You're a paying customer. You're the reason why my kids have food on their table. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It's our job to know.
It is so sweet and such good advice. Now you're working in the dispensary. How does life look with cannabis now? Is it medicinal, recreational? How is that fitting in?
I literally use it for everything. I use bath bombs. I use hemp in my shampoo and conditioner, in my hair dye, in my lotion. I mean, I do recreationally smoke. I mean, like it's pretty much a staple in my hand. I literally just like have it next to my bedside table. It's like a coffee station. I have a weed station. I have a discount through my work, so I spend a little bit of money at the dispensary. Like it is my bills. It is fit into it. I get tips every day, so that helps a lot. That's so nice. Right back in the business.
That's perfect. And you had mentioned earlier, you said improved quality of life. Talk a little bit about what that looks like for you and for anyone who's not sure how cannabis can help beyond just the obvious.
Well, so my pain pill addiction led into an alcohol addiction, and then it led into harder drugs throughout my life. It took me until I was 26, 27 to really nosedive. My dad died, and I lost it. And I was dependent on a drug or a drink or something. And cannabis replaced that. I replaced it with that for a long time, in some fashion or another. The alcoholism, it was tinctures. So to help with my withdrawals, I quit drinking 4 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My other hard drugs, it was just because of the pain again. I was in a lot of pain.
Of course.
And so I just replaced everything with cannabis in some fashion. Lotions, CBD, because you can put lotion on 1,000,000 times a day. You don't ever feel a head high, and you get all the medicinal. So it was comforting to know I had that medical backing, and I wasn't doing it alone, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did you feel like you had a lot of support as you transitioned? Did your family, did your spouse, anybody, did you find that you went through it alone? What did that look like?
Well, I did have a backing, but I also didn't have a backing because nobody followed the way I did it, and they kind of went off on their own, and I still ended up doing it alone, but they were agreeing, but they weren't with me on it.
Yeah. Any advice for someone out there who feels super alone, who feels like they're too scared to move forward in looking at cannabis as a solution?
don't be afraid to try new things. Even if you're afraid of the THC, all you need is just like a hair of THC in your lotion for it to do just more than enough. CBD is actually better in medicinal fashion, and all you need is just a little bit. So don't be scared. The numbers don't equal the amount.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, that's great advice, because so many people, if they can just push through that first fear and have the chance to experience it, and then they know if it's right for them. And if it's not, no problem. But if it is, kind of just unlock this whole kind of beautiful new world with cannabis.
Right. And then it leaves you open to many things, because now you're not dependent on, oh, I have to take a pill in 4 hours and I know I can't drive in that time frame because now I'm going to be dizzy all the time. Then you can just put a topical on your skin if you start to hurt.
Oh, that's perfect. And I do like that you keep mentioning the topicals, because so many people are afraid of that head high. They're afraid to use cannabis because they don't want to get high. But especially for our older generation, putting it on the skin, it's not going to make you high, but it will give you the relief. And it can be super, super beneficial, especially for pain. So I'm so glad that you keep mentioning that for anyone who wants to try cannabis but is afraid. It's probably the best first step for you, because it's a safe way to experiment.
And that is correct. That is the safest, easiest way to do it. Because everybody thinks, oh, edibles. No.
Not for your first time. Take some time on that.
No.
But if you can find relief with the topicals, it's such a relief in that you can use it as frequently as you want to throughout the day without having to worry about being impaired or feeling unwell. It's just kind of like that perfect solution.
Correct. Well, and then even if the topicals don't work for you and you have to ingest, there's RSO, there's tinctures, there's dabs, there's everything. My mom has an autoimmune disease. 3 of them actually. And she has completely transitioned from pharmaceuticals to multivitamins and cannabis. My ex-husband, he had cancer. He all holistic, no pharmaceuticals whatsoever. And RSO saved his life. It put him into remission.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my grandma, okay, so this is going to be weird, but my grandma saved a cat's life. It was attacked by a squirrel. She used horse liniment and cannabis in a salve and put it in this cat's wound, and it closed from the inside out, and the cat survived. And vets were like, there's no chance of this cat living. Nobody would operate on it. And my grandma saved his life with just trim. And she put it in a poultice and then just slapped it on his cat's head.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And don't fight a cat to put salve on it, but
if it works, so many people are looking for relief for their animals as well. Pets, cats, dogs can definitely be benefited from cannabis. Now, I should say dogs and cats shouldn't have a lot of THC orally ingested, but
only
but saving its life, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's literally a miracle drug. You can do everything with it. There's endless possibilities. You can run your car off of it.
I bet you see a ton of success stories working in the dispensary as well. Do you? Do people come back and say, what you recommended helped me?
Yeah, I do actually. I do see a lot. I have a fan base. Yesterday, a customer walked in and I was like, hi. And he's all, Kalye. And I'm like, I don't even remember you.
When you see so many people.
I see 150 people a day probably.
Oh, but that they remembered you and the experience you gave them. And then your recommendations changed their life and improved their quality of life. Has to be such a good feeling at the end of the day.
It is a good feeling, and my whole life, I've always wanted to work in this industry. And the only thing that I've ever been able to accomplish is the 90-year-old that came into my bud station, left with more knowledge than he had. And he was willing to say it actually does work instead of fighting against it. And I got to change the older generation's mindset on cannabis, because They're the reason why it's even illegal in the first place. And it was a great feeling. Like, if I never accomplished anything else, that was right there. That was why I chose to do this job.
That is beautiful. I love that. And I feel for so many of us who have been positively impacted through cannabis, we feel like we have to turn around and help others. And then to feel like that help actually came to fruition and improved the quality of someone else's life. Like, that's just the best feeling. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. You know, and it was amazing because he was actually 87 years old. And he was very, very adamantly like, I'm not sure about this. This is not okay. This is not regulated. And then he was like, this is not a pharmacy medicine. And I always pop off with the line that, you know, doctors go to school for 12 years to say they practice medicine. I got the privilege of $100 for 5 years to actually give medicine and to say I actually do something.
Oh, that's got to be so amazing. I mean, 87 years old and to change his mind in a way for the better. And then hopefully he goes out and tells his friends and they tell their friends, and it kind of just snowballs into what will hopefully be a multi-generational change over time.
We actually have so I work night shift, and we actually have a complete different crowd morning to night. Like, the elderly come in at the nighttime, and then like the partiers come in, like the more recreational, they go in the daytime. Like, the music is even different in there too during the day and the night. It's funny. How
interesting. You have to see such a wide variety of customers coming in and out the door.
Yes, I do. I see every gambit. I mean, everything.
And that just goes to show. Yeah. I mean, everybody uses cannabis. They just don't say it out loud.
Correct. And I mean, like, everybody, literally everybody. And we're right off the freeway. So everybody stops there. Sometimes the parking is non-existent.
And you're in Oregon, it's crazy that it's been legal for that long and you still have lines wrapped around. You know, we don't have dispenser. They're getting set up here in New York State, and they say there are lines, and understandable for the first couple days. But I mean, Oregon is years in and still has lines around the door. That's crazy.
There are 12 stores in Ontario by itself, and every single one of them, depending on the day, they could be elbow to elbow. I know that my dispensary has 2 stores in Ontario, and they are the top sales out of all of our stores. There's 44 stores that my company owns, and all over Oregon and 3 other states, and they're buying in 3 more. They're the same 2 owners. Like, they're not like a corporation. And they are localized and they originated in Portland. And I mean, every day we do probably $100,000 sales, probably.
That's amazing and so exciting to hear that they're expanding. There's so many states out here, people in Texas and Arkansas, where it is still so illegal and it is so hard for people to get products. They just can't walk into a dispensary. Yep. To hear that we're actually making progress and you're expanding across the country is so exciting. I just can't wait until we see some type of federal legalization. Everybody can have the opportunity to line up at a dispensary and meet you.
Right, that's correct. You know, and we're getting closer. They actually just passed a law for seeds. So if they're not in the dirt, seeds are able to ship all 50 states, and that's legal. That's legal on the Farmers Act, like USDA.
Yeah, I saw that just recently got passed, and I was like, finally! Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, because I saw this website and I was like, why are they selling seeds? And then I did some research and I was like, what? I was like, that's amazing. Because I mean, that broadens the horizons so much. That means a lot of the plants that were, they're non-existent and they're in cryostasis, they can now be moved from state to state and it's not federally illegal.
It's such a relief. And I'm such a huge proponent of people growing their own at home anyway. I want people, just like you go outside and grow a tomato or a zucchini in the summer, grow in a cannabis plant.
It's your
Yes,
yard.
absolutely. I want people to feel like that's a normal thing that we do in our culture. And so hearing that did pass and that's more accessible and people will be less scared to buy them for legal repercussions. It is exciting. It is the future, hopefully.
I hope I still live to see it. And I hope that you live to see it too.
I know.
I mean, it's been over 100 years old, 100-year-old fight.
It's crazy. But then I do think we have seen so much progress in the last 10 years that it does make me feel optimistic, because I'm usually pessimistic about it. But I have to look on the bright side, and we have made a lot of progress, which is amazing.
We have definitely made a lot of progress when you look at like the whole picture, but honestly, it's just like a snail's pace. And that's just because the government knows that they messed up. It's a cash crop. We're going to take over and they're going to lose. And everybody's going to be happy. We're all going to be hippies. That's all. We're all going to be hippies. We're all going to be smoking weed.
Everyone's going to be happy. Everyone's going to be feeling good. Everyone's going to be off their meds. And it's just an exciting time, I guess. I really hope that more people get the chance to experience the healing benefits of the plant, just as you have and I have. And hopefully I just want people to have a better quality of life at the end of the day.
I do too, and I came from, working in an industry where it was completely forbidden and into an industry where it's the number one thing. Like my old bosses from Idaho, I have actually served them in my Budtender station. And I was like, I knew it.
So full circle though. It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah. I was like, you.
I know you.
Yeah. And he's like, you don't see me.
It's so nice though to see too how things can change for the better in just a few years. Now you're doing something that you love, that you said you've always wanted to be doing, and serving old bosses. It's perfect.
Yep, it's karma comes full circle.
Absolutely. Oh, I believe it. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'm so glad I met my first real bud tender. Now, I want to be respectful of your time. Can I ask you the same 4 questions I ask all of our guests?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. First up, what are you most proud of in your life to date?
That I've survived everything. I've literally survived everything. Domestic violence, car accidents. I've survived PTSD. I've survived learning how to walk, moving state to state, being homeless, many different things. I've survived it.
And you're here to share it with us. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
On the opposite side, what do you think your life would look like without cannabis?
I would be completely dependent on everything that the doctors told me to do. I would be completely wrapped around drugs and alcohol. I would not have had a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you found cannabis and the light at the end of your tunnel. If you could go back 10, 20, 30 years ago and give yourself just one piece of advice, cannabis related or not, what would it be?
Oh, probably move sooner. No. Probably move sooner.
I mean, from Idaho to Oregon is worlds difference. I can't even imagine.
Yes, it is. The medical is 100%.
I mean, Idaho do they even have medical there at all?
When they don't have medical cannabis at all. No, it's a very,
crazy.
very, very,
it's
very,
one of the
very
strictest
illegal
states, right? Yes.
Yeah, you're lucky if you don't get a life sentence.
It's insane. And then to go to Oregon where it's like land of the free, enjoy all you can with cannabis. It's like,
they always say, come smoke your weed in Oregon, go party in Idaho.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'll go to Oregon. I like weed. Yes. Very last question. If you could be remembered for just one thing in the cannabis space, what would it be?
That I always never stopped learning and following along and making sure that everybody else knew the information too.
Oh, well, I can't thank you enough for coming and sharing your experience and your information, your wisdom with us here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Congratulations! You've finished another episode of the Well with Cannabis podcast and are one step closer to discovering how you too can live well with cannabis. Thank you for listening in today. We hope this episode has been a helpful and informative one. Please visit EmilyKyleNutrition.com for more information on today's show notes, guest information, recipes, and other resources. If you want more support and encouragement on your cannabis journey, please consider joining the private Well with Cannabis community. In this group, you can connect with like-minded individuals focused on improving their health and wellness through cannabis. Join the group today to continue your journey of wellness together at EmilyKyleNutrition.com.